Hello my friends, my name is Ron Perry, and to start this video off today, our next video in our series of the Chinese coal mine project, I first wanted to relay to you a website that I have been using for reference photos in this project. ChineseModelTrains.com is a website that's full of a rail fan's art. You got his model trains, a very little bit of his model trains, and a lot of his rail fan adventures through China. That's all I've looked at. So I don't know what the website is like. There's years and years of photographs and research material on this stuff. And you know, it's also fun to go through the author's blog post style of photo galleries. He shares his trips and says something along the way about each little town and area, which is truly fascinating to me, because the author is from Australia and gives a westernish kind of point of view. I don't know how to term that. Anyways, check out Chinese model trains if you are at all interested in further exploring this thing, East Asia. There's a place out there. It's out there. There's a whole other world. Actually, there's a lot more of them than us. So the world's over there, maybe. Whatever. Now, as a little bit of a recap, this project is from a client that I have in Australia. He's fascinated with Chinese railways. And in this project, we are taking features from engine houses all over the country to come up with a design that really suits his railroad in the way he likes. Specifically, many of the photos from the north have yellow brick, and we're taking features from those engine houses and then adding the nice orangey red brick that is found in the south where he models. I'm basically building all three walls. I stood them up so that I could see how everything comes together. I haven't put the peak into the end walls yet, and that doesn't seem to be a big issue for me right now, because I'll probably just run them over the table saw as they are right now. I don't suggest you do those kinds of things, and that's probably why I don't do it on camera. Now, I've been making these videos for a long time, and I usually throw in a little ad here that I made a couple of years ago at this point. But I wanted to do this live here and just tell you straight up, but next year could be the biggest year that I ever have in this hobby. Actually, I have a feeling that next year is going to be my make or break year. I don't know if the work that I do is appreciated or not. And you know what? It does cost a lot of money to put this stuff together. You know, when I'm putting this stuff together, sometimes I'm late for work. Sometimes it just gets in the way of real life. I'm telling you, and I'm not griping on it. I'm just saying that if you appreciate these videos, there's one way to show it. Well, there's a few ways to show it, but there's only one way I want you to show it. Patreon.com/Ron Perry. Well, it's very cost effective, and if this is a part of your entertainment, please consider chipping in. You'll help me out a great deal. Maybe we can get a laser or something. Now, in our last video, we talked about getting some wood laser cut or laser etched by my friends at ITLA Scale Models. I want to thank Nick over there for doing a great job. The pieces look great. We actually found a brick pattern that is much like the yellow brick structures that we found in the north of China. So I got these sheets made out from Nick and they were the full size of the wall. However, what I didn't consider is that these sheets, you know, they already have nice square lines on them, so they're really easy to cut apart into little pieces. Well, I'll just show you how I did it. How about we do that? Now, I painted most of these pieces off of camera. I'll just tell you the colors that I used. I'm sorry, I don't have the time to do all this stuff. Like, I'd love to do this all day, every day. In the summers when I've got more time, you can tell that I am willing to put in the effort. But like I said in my spiel just a few seconds ago, I can't afford to dedicate a lot of time to these things. So what I used was raw umber. So the paint I used was the majority of the paint I used is called raw sienna, a folk art dollar store paint. It's called artist's pigment. It's a cheap paint, and I just very I added a lot of variation to the color, meaning that there's translucent spots that look like the yellow brick is coming through, and then there's real orangey spots like the raw sienna. But I didn't use a burnt sienna because it's a little bit too red, and the client specifically said he loves the orange brick of the South, and orange brick screams raw sienna to me. Now, my models aren't perfect. They really aren't. I really just start a model by looking at a picture, taking proportions, and measuring them out by eye on the end pieces. The only actual measurements that I use in the process of building this kit is from the client himself. He wanted to have a base of this size, and that's what I went with, and the rest gets built proportionately into those dimensions. I do not care about prototype dimensions. Nobody's ever going to build a prototype building one-to-one on their railroad. Go ahead and try it. Go ahead. So another little tidbit is that the windows were cut a little proud, a little big. However, when you get them into the wall itself, they really don't make a difference. And you know what? If the windows were made smaller, more prototypical to the structure, they would have looked small. And I think that raising the size of those windows really made it look like it was a bigger building. And it's all about proportions. You know, I didn't want the side wall to be all brick because when you look at the photograph, it's all window. So now, the order I measured my building in, because this was not designed on paper, started with the doors. I built the doors to a size that looked proportionate to the size of what the windows looked like in the photographs. After I built those doors, then I transferred that size of door to the end wall. And once that door was on the end wall, I was able to do the skirting around the bottom of the building. And this was my beginning measurement, my beginning proportion. The next one is where the concrete comes out the top of the door, and I can put the brick sheet in between those two layers. And this gave me the idea of cutting my sheets up. I had to do it. And really, once you use a real nice, nice sharp knife with a nice metal razor, with a nice metal ruler, easy for me to say, you know, it really made short work of this MDF board that we're laminating our brick to. And it is here too, you can see where the proportions are working really well together. This structure looks great in my eyes, and I'm really proud of it. So in our next video, I'm going to try to demonstrate all the techniques that I did to build that other wall into this wall. I like to do you know, I'd like to have a heads up how something's going to go. So, you know, I might have said that I worked a lot earlier in the video, and that's why I didn't do it. But I also wanted to make sure that I worked out all the kinks before I showed you how I did it. Because, you know, really, what happens at the beginning of the model is different than what happens near the end of the project build. You know, you learn the little tricks and you apply them along the way, and that's modeling. So I hope you liked this video. I hope you learned something. I hope you're liking all this stuff. I have a real big plan to get back into live streaming, to build entire models on live streams over the weekends and stuff like that. And if you want to help me make that happen, become a patron at patreon.com/Ron Perry. My goal is 50 patrons by Christmas, by the end of the year. New Year's will be good. So please consider becoming a patron. I want to thank you for watching this video again. It's really a pleasure making them. I'm sorry for griping in the video. It's not, you know, it's just that I really am passionate about sharing my hobby to you. And, you know, it really, when it's really hard for me to find the time to do these things, it really gets to me. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. You guys are champs. I'm going to fast scroll some of my patrons here at the end of the video. I want to thank Sparky107107 for the Lazy Susan in the video. You're a champ, Sparky. Thank you very much. Thank you to all my patrons. Thank you for watching. Thank you. Talk to you later.